This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we thank you for your support.
Hello, I'm Kevin from the Extra Mile Podcast and the Extra Mile Podcast Jeff Galloway edition, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country, and after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 160 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Welcome to the show, and a very, very happy birthday to Mr. Kevin Gwynn, host of the Extra Mile podcast and the Extra Mile podcast, the Galloway edition.
And podcast announcer and welcomer for the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, who you just heard at the top of the show.
Yay!
What a good guy.
He's built such a great community of people, and he set an example for us as we got started.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I think this is no better episode starter to wish him a happy birthday.
So happy birthday, Kevin.
Yes. Or as he would say, happy.
Yes.
Yes. And we hope it was a wonderful time with friends and family and an extra mile.
Yeah. Speaking of extra miles.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about how you can get some extra miles in this week with...
I see what
you see what I did there?
I see what you did.
Yeah, you can get some extra miles in by doing some awesome virtual races from our friends over at Metal Chasers.
Yes. I think that live races are coming back locally, and they're coming back sporadically in smaller races.
Local races, smaller regional events.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to see, or we're not really seeing a lot of the really big organized events, at least down in our area. And really, they're just starting to come back across the country. I am seeing people
register for a lot of fall races.
Right.
It seems.
Basically after, in the fall, after July.
Making plans for that. So you see the light coming where you can runcation. You still have to have the impetus and the motivation to train, and while races are not happening, I just think there are some great virtual races that support excellent causes when it comes to what Metal Chasers has to offer.
Yeah, and we've talked about them a number of times on the show. We have run 3 of their series. They had the Avengers Assemble or Metal Chasers Assemble series based on the Avengers from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They also had their Infinity Gauntlet 10K series and their
5K as
5K series. That was the Tony Stark Nano Gauntlet, and some of the coolest medals that I've seen out there. And cool. I still have one race in the series left to do.
You're telling me.
I'm telling myself, which is get it done before the temperatures climb and get to be out of control around here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the bell.
It's the weather bell. So
I'm so far behind you, but
yeah, you owe some mileage to the running gods, but that's okay.
I do.
You're on the road to recovery.
I am.
It's
true.
Race, one walk, one therapy session at a time.
Yes, one step at a time, one lunge at a time.
Yeah, you've give us an update. Talk to us about what the #TheraBeast, trademark pending, has said and done to you this week.
We are working on the strength in my hips and in my quads and hamstrings, and we're strengthening all the muscles around in my hips and my legs so that I can start to come back to that run, walk, run, if you will, down the line. Right. I'm not there yet because, as you said, it was really, I thought, oh, I'll be coming back, no problem. Oh. But I got to build back up. And so to that end, lunges, baby,
have been added to your repertoire.
Balance exercises on the Bosu ball.
Should I just go ahead and get on Amazon and order you one?
No. But yes. No, but yes. Hashtag no, but yes. Okay. So, yes.
We'll see if
all
Josh approves of that hashtag.
Yeah, we got to consult our patron, Josh.
Yes.
Yes. And see how that all plays out. But it's all it's tough, but it's in service of reaching the goal.
And you're feeling a difference. She's building strength.
Yes.
And I see the difference in how you walk and how you did last week at our trail run, which was a whole different animal. So this week's been all about the gym and about walking for you when allowed to on flat paved surfaces. You didn't long for the trail. You didn't get back out on the uneven, soft surface of Florida sugar sand.
I really don't think I'm like our friends at the Will Run For podcast that run the virtual, or run the, not virtual. I have virtual on the brain. I'm not like them where they run the trail run. Here's a half marathon trail run. Let's go do that. I don't think that's going to be me.
That's okay.
So,
that is totally whatever you gravitate towards. Go with that.
Yeah.
But I made mention of Metal Chasers. We talked about them a little bit. And the reason is, of course, we've done their series. They are going to be on our show today.
So excited.
We're talking to Bill and Kristina again. They are dropping a virtual race series on us and telling us all about this one. And this one is in the same vein of Metal Chasers Assemble, but a little different.
Yes. So we're excited to have them on the show. To gush over the series that we have done before and to introduce a new one to the Runcation Nation.
And we first had them on the show about a year ago. Yeah. So it's nice to check back in with them to see that they're doing well and that the virtuals that they have put out into the world have been so well received.
Yes.
And I think you guys are going to be really excited about this next virtual series from them. But that's not the only thing that we are revisiting a year later.
Yes. So Fort Myers Brewing Company's anniversary party last year. And Fort Myers Brewing Company is a local brewery here that really started the local craft beer scene.
They really did.
So
here in Southwest Florida,
they have a truck periodically, a food truck called Mobstah Lobstah.
And those guys are normally based out of, I want to say, the Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area.
But they will do, you will see them in the Sarasota area. You will see them in the Naples area. You'll see them in Fort Myers. So all of Southwest Florida, if you are vacationing here and you happen to discover a brewery that has this food truck, just go. And we should have taken our own advice because it's been a year between we returned to Fort Myers Brewing a year later to get them again. It was a year between the time that we had, and it shouldn't have been.
Agreed.
Because it's so good. Agreed. Anyway, that's just me.
And we're going to be talking about some amazing food from that truck once again.
But we're going to be talking about a new dish that we didn't talk about.
Yes.
In addition to old favorites as well.
Absolutely.
And somebody else was celebrating an anniversary as far as beverages go, Scotty's Beer Works here in the North Fort Myers, Cape Coral area, they were celebrating 4 years last weekend.
Yes.
And
we have had them on the show before.
We have.
There was it's funny. They did a event locally that was basically a riff on the Infinity Gauntlet from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes. I think that was the last time we might have had them on the show.
Possibly, yes.
They were one of the breweries that had a stone. You had to come and do some trivia and find this quote unquote find the stone to complete your gauntlet.
Like do the riddle or whatever mystery. I had to work that day, I think.
Yes, I had to take one for the team and visit these places and collect the stones. And
but there may be such a tragedy for you.
There may be a picture of me with the Infinity Gauntlet in front of their logo inside the brewery.
Such a tragedy to go to such a great brewery and have outstanding beer.
I suffer for my art.
You do.
I do.
You do. But they had a special release beer. And so we're going to be talking about here's what we love from them, and here was the new offering to celebrate their 4th anniversary.
Yes, I'm very excited because this beer combines a couple things that we love.
Mm-hmm.
And
can't guess what that is. Just think about it.
And the old favorite from them is just absolutely one of my favorites, period, here in Southwest Florida.
Absolutely.
So
shall we get started?
Let's do it. Let's talk running.
Yeah. So Metal Chasers provides virtual race series, but also individual races that support worthwhile causes and charities. But they're also outstanding bibs and really just kick butt medals.
Yeah, they really do an amazing job with what you get for your virtual race entry fee. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to be disappointed with...
Which is reasonable.
It is reasonable. And
by the way,
it's an amazing value for what you're getting. In addition to this killer medal and professional bib, you're also supporting...
And sometimes they include shirts.
Yes.
Yes.
But you're also getting this great sense of doing good because they're supporting charities with these races. And last year, of course, we mentioned that they did their Avengers, their Metal Chasers Assemble series themed after the Marvel's Avengers, and that they did their Infinity Gauntlet series of 10Ks and their Tony Stark Nano Gauntlet series of 5Ks. We did all of those on the show. We showed you guys the medals. We brought you along on social media, doing live streams sometimes.
We had a friend of the show make cocktails themed after these races.
Yes. We really embraced it because we're both fans of Marvel. And we're fans of the work that they are doing at Metal Chasers. And we've kept in touch with Bill and Kristina.
Yeah.
And then they told us, hey, we're going to have a new series that's also Marvel themed.
I think that they told us in the middle of one of our live chats. Didn't they?
They did.
Yeah. It was super cool.
And this one's going to be based on anti-heroes.
So, tonight, or today, or whenever you're listening to this.
On this week's episode.
On this week's episode, yes. See, you correct when I need to have correction. So, on this week's episode, we sit down with Bill and Kristina, founders, owners, creative, extraordinary people.
They really are.
From Metal Chasers, and we talk about this new series and more. Dana, the running segment of our show today, I am very, very excited about.
Oh, I'm super thrilled.
I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
I heard what you did there. But this week, we welcome back Bill and Kristina Craig. Now, we actually spoke with them on episode 113, which I think is almost a year ago. We're very close to a year ago on the show.
Yeah.
Yes. And we talked about the gauntlet challenges that they had, virtual races from Metal Chasers. They are the creators. They are the founders of some of the most epic races that we have loved to run over 2020 and 2021.
Yes. So Bill, Kristina from Metal Chasers, welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Thanks for having us back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I should say welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yes. You guys have single-handedly kept us motivated, I think, for the majority of 2021. I know that of all of the virtual races that we've done, the majority of our virtuals have been Metal Chasers races.
Yes.
Yeah, we like hearing that.
Have you found that a lot over the last year and a half, that you've seen an uptick in virtual people approaching and checking out your website and getting into the virtual races you offer?
Yeah, we have. It's been very busy since things were shut down. And it's been good for us.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. People who didn't even know what a virtual run is needed something to do. Yeah. It just started going, what is this virtual thing? I gotta be part of this to keep myself motivated. So we definitely did see a lot of new people, for sure.
Yeah.
Funny story. We actually have taken some of your races and run them on property at Disney, and people would see us with those amazingly professional bibs that you get with the race and those killer medals. And they're like, oh my gosh, did Disney bring back a race? Did we miss something? And we'd have to say, no, but you would think, based on this, how good these look, and we'd give them the information for Metal Chasers. So we had people actually seeing them and really getting excited, and the reception of the medals from people who would see them were like, those look great. Really, we talk them up, but when people who don't know see them and have that reaction, it's really cool to see.
And we've seen you guys running and sharing the medals, and it's really cool to see. We do appreciate it.
And we're always super jealous because you're in Disney and we're not.
It helps to be only 3 hours away.
2 years ago, I think now, we were at the Disney Star Wars one. And that keeps showing up in my memories, and I'm like, no!
I know. What? Hey, the first time we interviewed you, I think that you had on a Star Wars shirt. Did you not? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, and we're so sad that the races that are not going to happen there. We hope that they resume very soon. But I think that
the short-term forecast doesn't look good.
Yeah. But we're lucky. You are right. We are lucky that we can get your medals and your bibs and we can take them anywhere. Have you gotten that kind of feedback? I know that you have the Facebook group and you all are heavily active on Twitter and Instagram and things. Do you get that feedback from people who get your medals and your bibs?
Yeah, we do. We get a lot of comments about the quality and just the level of detail that we put into it. Makes us feel good that people are recognizing it and noticing it. We do put a lot of time and effort and energy into the designs.
They're so creative. There are some that light up, that like the Spider-Man one that we did
with the little swinging
with the swinging spider. Those are super, super cool.
The last one that I did was the Tony Stark. The end, or the part of the story is the end. Is that the right? Did I get the quote right?
I think you did.
Part of the journey.
Part of the journey is the end.
Yeah, they know. They have to correct us because they're getting it right.
I ended up doing. In fact, I still have one more to complete.
Yes,
and that's the Thor. But I did the Tony Stark one because I was like, all right, I can get that distance and knock that one out. I've still got one more half marathon to do.
Well, it's good. You could do them in any order.
Yes.
Yeah. And that whole set that we were doing, you all still have that on Metal Chasers?
Yeah, we have the original 6 Avengers still available. So Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Iron Man, and Thor.
Yeah.
And we still have some Doctor Strange medals left over as well that are still on the site.
That one is super. That's the one that if you hold up to the light, then you turn out the lights and it glows in the dark. That is so freaking cool.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how can we photograph this.
Yeah.
And the answer is not well with the equipment that we have, but it is still a really cool medal to see.
Yeah.
And actually, that is one that we did on the Disney property.
Yes. We did.
We sure
did it. We did it up in Orlando. And
we did.
There's a picture of me with the Hulk And I know we're like fangirling and we're like
we're geeking out.
We're geeking out with you, but there is a picture of us in the Boardwalk Hotel on Disney property where we just did the Hulk, and the smile on my face is just, I love that medal, how his hand is just coming out of it and it looks so 3-dimensional and so cool. I just, so
that was a fun design to put together. It was originally just going to be a single medal that was just all 3D molded, but one of the artists came up with the idea of actually making 2 molds and snapping it together and giving it an ultimate 3D look to it.
Oh, that's how you had to do it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's 2 separate molds.
Wow.
And then it's riveted together.
Do you all brainstorm with the artist, or where does the idea initially come from for those special touches that you do on the medal?
It all starts in Bill's head.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for that. He usually comes up with the designs, and then I'm like the second pair of eyes that looks and goes, I don't like this, or I like that, or maybe this color. So he usually comes up with the designs, and then I'm the second set of eyes to
details.
And then he goes to our designer, and he mentions it to the designer, and of course the designer might have ideas based on how well he knows the medals can be made, based on the molds and things like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Is that
It's a team effort.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. It begins with an idea and then just goes from there. And
I also think every creative needs an editor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, not all my ideas are great ideas. So having somebody else look at it and make suggestions, I'm open to it.
But I think you begin with that seed, and then it becomes this. They just are so cool.
They are
and unique.
And the other thing that we got really good feedback on in talking with people, we finished our race at the Boardwalk, and we were getting some coffee and snacks from the Boardwalk Bakery there on the Disney property, and people were checking out our bibs and medals and all that. And we were telling them that these are not just virtuals to do for fun, but each one in the series benefits a charity, and people thought that was really, really cool. And again, the reception for the whole idea was just overwhelmingly positive, and from everyone that we talked to. Yeah. And I think you have raised so much money for charity. You can go on Metal Chasers and you can see the amount of money that has been raised for the respective charities. There are other events that are just challenges for fun and things, and I love that. Have you heard back from a lot of people that have taken these virtuals to destinations, or what kinds of things have you heard, if anything?
Yes, we have had some who they take them with them to do things like that. More often than not, though, we hear of people who get them as motivation to do things together, either with their family or friends, or because they're training for something. Back when there were live races, they were training for something, so they want like the motivation during training. So we have heard some people who take them places, but more so we hear those types of stories.
And you must hear stories like they get them, and then they might get the whole family, or they might get the whole neighborhood involved and do a chalk finish line and things like that. I think virtuals just offer all kinds of opportunities like that, and especially yours, because the bling is just so motivating.
The bling is king.
The bling is king.
Now, since we last talked, of course, Marvel has moved on. We have had Avengers Endgame. Disney Plus has begun releasing some very interesting content. I don't know if you guys are watching any of the shows, like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
We watched all of WandaVision. We are behind on the Falcon and Winter Soldier because we were out of town this weekend, so we have not watched Fridays.
Okay.
So we won't say anything.
We will not. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But since part of the journey is the end, and we have come to the end of the first Metal Chasers Assemble series. We've alluded to it in some conversations, and you guys were kind enough to jump in on one of those lives one night. That's just the first phase of your releases, and there's another phase coming.
There is.
Or there's another phase here, I should say.
It's here.
It's upon us.
It's here.
Can you guys talk about that?
Yeah, it's our anti-hero series. So when we started launching the Assemble series, we got several requests from people to do all kinds of different heroes. a lot of Deadpool, a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of Winter Soldier. So we started brainstorming, why don't we put together another series, and instead of it being a superhero, let's just call it anti-hero. That would be the next phase, logical thing to do. We put together a series of 8 medals. They're all 5K, so it's nice and easy for everybody.
To say, as somebody who's recovering from knee surgery, I thank you because it seems doable.
Yeah, this is probably going to be Amy's year of the 5K, and this is going to be a great way to start training and doing.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about who your anti-heroes were that you chose for the series?
You already mentioned one, right?
Yeah, we can do them in any order, just like the Assemble series. So we've got Deadpool is featured, of course.
Of course.
Yep, he had to be the first one, right?
Maximum effort.
That's the name of the run.
Yeah. I love that.
We're featuring Wolverine is in there as well. Winter Soldier is featured. Yondu and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Very nice.
Blade, Venom, Ghost Rider, and the Punisher.
You're going with some deep cuts.
The Punisher.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you're pulling not only from the MCU and some of their TV properties, but you're also going to some stuff that kind of predates the MCU.
Yep.
Very nice. I don't think I don't think you can go wrong with that listing there. Yondu, I think, is the one that a lot of people will be like, huh. That'll be the one.
I love that one.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker as Yondu was fantastic, although you might have to rename this one the Mary Poppins 5K. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because we thought about trying to work that into the medal or bib design, but we stayed away from that.
Probably for the best.
Which one would be your anti-hero if you had to pick one?
That's a tough one.
It's a tough. I know.
I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it either.
I'm asking the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah,
the hard-hitting questions. It's so. I would say Deadpool. I'm giving them time to think about their choices. I would have to say Deadpool, maybe.
Deadpool would definitely be up there. I do like the Winter Soldier as well.
I mean, the
probably be my two.
Yes. What about you? Kristina? What would you say?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I like those two also, but I do love Guardians of the Galaxy, so I do like the Yondu one too.
Great.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie that had no business being as good as it was.
True.
And it ends up being one I can rewatch again and again.
Yep.
And part of it is the casting, and Michael Rooker was phenomenal as Yondu.
Oh.
And that's just, again, that's a pick I wouldn't have necessarily thought of when I was putting together a list of anti-heroes going through the Marvel Rogues Gallery, as it were. I'm a big Punisher fan. I've got on our wall in the TV room, I've got 2 of my comic books in there on the wall, two different Punisher titles. So I'm a big fan, and I also have a Deadpool #1 up there. I think Punisher is going to be my pick. Although I love the idea of the Blade run being called the Daywalker, so that I can do that one specifically in the daytime. And I'm going to walk it.
The Daywalker. That's what's good about all these events. You can walk, you can bike, you can run, you can do it's your race at your pace, like you said. And I also like this series because it ties to, like you said, some of the new content, the Disney Plus, but also it harkens back to all sorts of connections for comic book lovers, and just Did you all think about that when you picked those particular?
Yeah, we included Deadpool and Guardians because it was heavily requested.
Popular, yeah.
Some of the ones like Ghost Rider and Blade, I love Ghost Rider comic, and I love the movie, Nicolas Cage movie. That was going to be included regardless.
Yeah, you got to do one for you, right? Yeah.
The Blade one. Once I designed it, I said this might be the coolest one of the whole series. I came in and I'm like,
yeah.
Nice. I would have figured that one of your biggest requests would have been Wolverine.
Got a couple of requests for Wolverine as well.
Because I know everybody is super excited at the potential that Disney may be bringing the X-Men into the cinematic universe in this phase. So
They're very
Everyone's
forward
hopeful.
thinking.
Yeah.
They're very forward thinking. They get all the angles of the hero-dom. But you, in the last series that we did of yours, there were different charities. They're associated with different events and different distances. This one is Shriners Hospital for Children. So it's the one charity.
Yeah.
And what made you decide on that one?
Well, we've worked with them in the past in a couple of other events. We just like what they do, and they're a highly rated charity on Charity Navigator, and that always plays into our decisions as well. Yeah. Especially with a series like this, when we know we're going to raise a pretty decent amount of money with it, we want to make sure we give it to a charity that is going to use it properly. Yeah. So
that's a great reference.
Went into it.
Yeah, that's a great reference. Charity Navigator lets you see what percentage of dollars brought in they're actually using towards their mission as opposed to administrative overhead, things like that. And it's a good way for people to decide where they want their charity dollars to go. And glad to see that you guys are doing that kind of research as part of your consideration. That's really, really smart.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that even though these are the bad boys of the hero world in Marvel, you're getting to still do some good.
Yeah. They're anti-heroes. It's different from a villain, isn't it?
Sure.
Don't you
Sure.
think? Would you agree? It's the anti-hero?
Yes.
Yes. Like, how is it different, if you were to say?
An anti-hero is somebody who might do something good, but not necessarily for a good reason. He might be doing it for himself. You know what I mean?
Motivations are different.
Yeah, exactly.
And they might be doing good, but not necessarily in a good, respectful way, I guess.
The means are questionable.
Yeah. Sometimes they start out as villains in some cases, and they find their way to being more of a hero down the road.
Yeah, I do think that Captain America might call language on Deadpool.
Yeah.
No. Oh.
And might object to some of his
right?
means. A little bit.
Oh, you can do the whole series. You're talking about the ones that speak to you specifically, the anti-heroes, but you can do the whole series. And let's be real, we're going to do the whole series. Okay. But you can also do individual ones that speak to you. So if Blade is the one, or if Wolverine is just calling your name,
you can go a la carte.
Yeah, you can go a la carte. But then there's also a savings when you do it all together, right?
Yeah, you get a little bit of a discount. I forget how much.
And you get something else in there. You get, there are the medals and the bibs, and then you get something like Metal Chasers bib boards. What is that about?
They're little snap-on bib holders.
So you don't have to use safety pins, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just clip together through your shirt. They're awesome. I have 4 different pairs.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is good.
Ways to use it, but they're awesome.
We teamed up with Bibbirds. It was about a year ago, I think, and they designed some, put our logo on them, and we've been giving them out with full registrations, or
That's pretty awesome.
They're on the website for sale as well.
Yeah.
Super cool.
They're like little magnet, right? They're
These ones are
sort
like
of
clips.
Like clips?
They like snaps. Snap's the right word. They snap together through your shirt.
Nice.
And super easy to use. And they stay, like I said, they stay together well. I've used them numerous times at a few libraries.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those weird people. I always brag on your bibs. I know everybody's like, the metal. And I'm like, look, I love the fact that for my entry fee, I'm not only getting this awesome metal, but the Tyvek bib, which doesn't get gross when you sweat on it. It doesn't tear. It never works if you have to print your bib at home.
It does not.
That stinks.
No.
So the fact that you guys are doing bibs like that, I love it. It's an attention to detail that it makes a difference, and that makes the product that much more awesome.
Yeah.
It makes it that much more fun to do the run too, I think.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yes.
It's more real if I've got a bib on. People look at me around the neighborhood like,
not from my inkjet printer.
Yeah, and I do. When I run these, I actually clip the bib on.
Yeah.
And I go and run and get weird looks from people. They're like, there's a race going on. What's up?
Is there a race? It's only you? What are you doing?
Like, a lot of people will keep the bibs, and they're part of their metal hangers.
Shadow box, yeah.
Yeah, they're part of their metal hangers, or that they're commemorative also.
Absolutely.
And everything is coordinated, so.
Yes.
I like that a lot. Now, this series, we've been just fawning all over this entire time that we've been chatting with you. But you have a villain series coming? Is this what kinds of secret things do you have coming that you can talk about?
We do have a villain series that's going to go along with the Assemble series. So you'll have a different villain for each of the Assemble heroes.
Oh, that's going to be great.
So it is in very early stages of planning. We're still working on it.
So that is down the road, like
20 maybe towards the end of the year, early next year, possibly.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, to satisfy our hunger for all things superhero, we can do the anti-hero series in anticipation of a villains series. I am super thrilled. Super thrilled about that.
I mean, like, what villain do you... We have them right here, right now. What villain do you want them to do?
Oh, I mean,
hear it.
If I'm making requests, oh my gosh!
I mean, they probably already know what they're going to do, but
I think
this is the chance.
The Marvel nerd in me is, if you're going to do it corresponding to the event, to the Avengers Assemble, then you've got to do things like Abomination, Loki. Oh, for Iron Man, what would you do? That's a tough one.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, that one's actually undecided at this time.
I can think of a couple.
Hit it on Loki. We're definitely going to do a Loki.
Oh yeah, you have to.
It's such an awesome character.
And that's one of the shows on Disney Plus I'm really looking forward to.
Our daughter would not let us not do Loki. She sobbed hysterically.
You got to do it for the kids. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the others for Black Widow. You might do KGB or what's his name? It's not KGB agent.
I know what you're talking about. There's a few.
There's a few. Yeah, there's
few going back into the comics.
I'm probably going way too nerdy for that.
I don't know the name.
So I'm very excited to see which ones you guys land on, though. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to help me complete the series, complete the sets.
Yes.
And speaking of, you guys, before we started recording, we were talking. If people are wanting to complete sets or jump in and grab sets before they maybe go away, now might be a good time.
Yeah, we're on the final release for the Assemble series. So the original 6 Avengers are still available right now, along with Doctor Strange. All the other ones are gone. So Black Panther's already gone. Captain Marvel's gone. But the other 7 or so are still available.
And that also goes for the Gauntlet series as well?
Yep, that's in its final release. I think there's only a couple of the 60Ks left. And then, I don't know, we've got a few dozen of the 30K still.
And the 30K, that's the Tony Stark. That's the Nano Gauntlet one, right?
Yep.
With how did you all come up with the little magnets for the? Did you all do that, or did your team?
How it came out is how I pitched it to him. That was the first time we actually did a metal that had 2 separate molds. So that was exactly how I drew it up for him.
Nice.
I love that metal.
Yeah.
Those metals.
Are so great.
Fantastic. Those are.
They're not coming off.
Nope.
Once it's hardcore.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Awesome.
We had to go back and forth on the color. It took us a while to get that red right.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah, you did. You did. And so we've been talking about your races. Of course, there are challenges and races on the site that are not associated with charities that you can just run or walk or bike or do at your pace. But there's also coaching. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Back in, what year was it? I can't even remember the year now. Might have been 2017, I think. I went and took the RRCA, Road Runners Club of America's run coaching level 1 certification. And I took the course and I became certified, and I started my own small business called Casey Run Coach. And I started working with people who were more so beginners or wanted to tackle a distance they had never done before. And I really enjoyed doing that because I'm never going to Boston qualify. I'm not a fast, runner. I started off that way. I like the run walking. I've been injured, so I worked with a couple people coming back from injury. So that's really the type of runners I love to work with. And I helped one of Bill's coworkers, train for his first full marathon, for the Buffalo Full Marathon.
Ooh.
I helped a couple of friends do a walk to run 5K program for the first time. So it's just something that I enjoy doing on the side. I don't do it a ton as a full-time teacher and also running Metal Chasers with Bill.
Yeah, you're doing a lot.
Just both of you. Yeah, so I might have a client or two at a time. It's not something I do full time, but it's something I've enjoyed doing. Yeah. And I also I like having the knowledge does help me when we get questions, maybe in our running group or we have people message us, that I feel I can share that knowledge a little bit too with our Metal Chasers community.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So it's very well-rounded. I got like all the creative, and then you could get the foundational stuff, and there's a social component. And do y'all have any, you all run together a lot. Is one of you faster than the other? Because he can run way faster than I can, but he always stays with me in races. And I don't know if you all train at the same pace together or...
Right now we do. Honestly, I don't know who would be faster because when we started running, I was, but then he was, and now
you trade off.
We did, and now we're at a point now that time just doesn't matter to us. So we just, however we're feeling that day. We have days if you just want to do 2-1 run walks today. Yep, that sounds good. And you know, as long as we're just together and we're out there doing it. So I don't know. We'd have to race with each other one of these days.
Yeah. So now we have 2 more questions to ask, and they're not running related. And I didn't tell them about this.
Uh-oh. More hard-hitting questions.
These are more hard-hitting questions, yes. So it's a food-related and beverage-related questions. They are questions. So if we came up to your area to do a race when they return, or if we take one of your medals on the road with us to see that part of the world when it opens up, then where is your favorite local post-race meal and what is it?
Oh boy. We have so much good food here.
Wow.
See, this is what we want to know. We have a whole big list. And we keep it when we get recommendations from people that we talk to. So
I'm partial to burgers.
Oh, yeah.
Burgers. And my number tied with that is pizza. We have some really good pizza up here. So definitely ordering a pizza and wings or a good burger. As far as pizza, we actually just ordered last night from Bocce. We have it's called Bocce Club Pizza. So good. Yeah, so that's probably our favorite pizza place. For burgers, I don't know. Where's your favorite burger?
Well, I don't know. There's so many.
We have so many really good breweries here too.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that also have good food.
Really? Nice. So the breweries are actually doing
their own food
game as well? We're starting to see that more.
Yes. We have a restaurant called New York Beer Project.
Yeah, that's very good.
And they're really, really good food and beer. They craft their own beer as well as bring in other local area beers. And
that's cool.
Their food's really good. So I would definitely recommend that place for sure.
What place is downtown? What's that place? Downtown.
There's so many. Which one?
Well, Bocce sounds really good.
Bocce sounds good, yeah.
So their pizza is really good.
I can destroy an entire pizza after a half marathon. No problem.
Yes.
No problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So similar question, but in terms of food. Now you mentioned that New York Beer Project.
Yep.
Would that be the place you would go for a post-race recovery beverage, or is there some other place that you would hit, and what would you get?
Yeah, that would be an option. There's another brewery we like, 12 Gate.
Near our house, it's a much smaller place, so they have some food, but it's more like flatbreads and just little things. If we were just going to go out for a beverage, that would be a good place to go for a beer. And it's this small little place that you have to go in this back parking lot area you can't even find, but good. Yeah.
I like spots like that, though.
I like hidden gems, like just unknowns or holes in the wall or undiscovered. It's not like you've gone onto Yelp and got the whole list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
definitely a place when we like, hey, you just want to go out for a beer, and we've hit them up.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing before we let you guys go. You all mentioned before we started that you had something special for members of the Runcation Nation. What was that what is that? And what can we share with our listeners?
Yeah, we have a discount code for your Runcation Nation. It's 15% off. Just use Runcation 15 at checkout. It's an unlimited, so you can use it as many times as you want.
Wow.
So it'll be valid through the end of May. So,
what a great way to stock up on some virtuals for the summer training season.
Yes.
There you go.
It's coming.
So Runcation 15 will get you 15% off of your order, and that's for individual races and series as well?
Yep, it's for everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you guys so much.
We can't thank you enough. Yeah. And we've seen you on social media sporting the Run, Eat, Drink podcast hoodie. Yeah. That Dana says makes you 15% faster.
The scientists here at the Run, Eat, Drink podcast towers have been tirelessly working to truly assess what it does. And right now, the estimates from all their lab work is 15 to 17% faster.
Got it. We'll get back to you with other data, but we appreciate your supporting us. And we just want the Runcation Nation to get in on this awesome anti-hero series, and we can't wait for the villain series.
Yeah.
So
this is so right up my alley.
Yes.
This combines everything I geek out about. So I thank you guys for doing this series, and thank you for the discount code. That is really incredible.
Yeah, and we know there are other themed races. There's birthday, there are fairy tale themed medals and races out there on your website. So it's medalchasersvrc.com. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yay, which I'll link to all in the show notes and everything.
Yes.
And so everybody should check it out, not only for the anti-hero and all the goodies that we've done before and bragged about before, but just everything is quality. And we are so thankful that in 2020 we discovered Medal Chasers, and that you were such a part of keeping us motivated and out there on the road.
Well, we're so glad you found us too. Yes.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you at a live race sometime.
Yes.
So
we love meeting people, and the running community has been great. And that's why I love the social media part of it, because meeting new people, and I'm like, I have this friend, and I'm like, well, kind of, it's my running friend, and I've never met them, but they're my friend.
Yeah.
Some of the nicest people you know are people you've never met, and it's runners. Absolutely.
Runners like the two of you.
It's been great and fun for us too.
Bill and Kristina, we cannot thank you enough for taking time to talk with us about the new series. We're excited about what's to come, and we appreciate you taking time to talk with us on the podcast today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
I think it's just so nice of them to give our Runcation Nation a discount code, and they're so awesome and so reasonably priced, but that's just an added bonus to reach out, go to that website, and check out that series.
Yeah, this is going to be a great way for members of the Runcation Nation to stock up on virtuals, to keep themselves extrinsically motivated. I always like that. I dropped that in there.
Yeah.
The external motivator of having that bling to reward yourself with to get your weekly running in. This is a great way to do that. That's 15% off of any of their races or series.
And you can use it multiple times.
Yes. And that's now through May. So there's no reason. If you like doing virtuals and you go check out their website and you see some stuff that's themed, even if you're not liking the Marvel stuff, which when you look at the metals, I don't know how you couldn't like this.
But they also have fairy tale series if you're more interested in that. They
got a bunch of stuff.
It's very diverse.
It really is.
So.
And again, their build quality on these metals is
solid.
So nice. If you have watched any of our live streams when we're broadcasting from the studio, in the background I've begun putting up metals, and the first metal hanger that I mounted has most of my Metal Chasers medals up there. There's still one that I owe. I've got to earn. That's the Thor. But
so great,
all of my other ones are up there. They look fantastic, and I am actually displaying them alongside the Disney Marvel ones. And truth be told,
so cool.
Their stuff is easily hanging, and I mean that literally and figuratively, with the Disney quality metals.
Oh, yeah.
Their stuff's fantastic. So check it out. Avail yourself of that discount code RUNCATION15, and the website is metalchasersvrc.com.
Yes, which we will link to in all the show notes. So you don't even have to, you just look at the show notes.
Click the link.
Choose your favorite anti-hero.
All right. But all that talk of running has me hungry.
Of course it does.
And
I'm hungry too.
One of my favorite things to do on a Saturday is after getting my long run in, come home, shower, change clothes, and we'll sometimes head out to Fort Myers Brewing to go and just take it in, listen to some music.
Oh, yeah.
Grab a folding chair, sit in the parking lot.
Their tagline is
the best beer you'll enjoy in a parking lot.
Exactly.
Because they have such a following at Fort Myers Brewing. They are set back in an industrial park. And they've taken over the unit that was next to them. They've grown in that location while they've been there. But their popularity has far exceeded their seating capacity.
Yes.
What they do is they bring out food trucks. The food trucks park in the parking lot. They have some outside seating that they've set up. They actually set up some covered outside seating during the pandemic, and that has become a semi-permanent fixture there. It's seating.
They've expanded
under
their
tents.
seating outside.
Yes.
And they've made it covered so that in the heat of the summer it'll be great, or you can escape the rain, whatever it is, and still enjoy a brew in a great food truck.
Exactly.
So.
And they put live music under their permanent covered seating or in that area. And you will get, and I think that we've posted photos from there before, but to say that you might get 500 people there, it's probably not an exaggeration when they have a big food truck rally going and a live music night.
It's very popular.
Very popular. We head out there post-race. What a great thing to do. And we did that just this past week. And one of our favorite food trucks that we actually talked about on the show, like Amy said, a year ago, was there.
And we feel like we should, it's all coming full circle. We have spent this year running amazing virtual races and then indulging in and sharing local gems of food trucks. And it's been a year since we had this one. And I can't believe that it's been a year.
We try not to repeat too much on the show. We want to bring you guys as much as we can that's new and that's awesome.
So we're bringing a new dish.
We are bringing a new dish from a food truck that has managed to weather the storm of the pandemic. And they were out there. They had...
We want to celebrate that.
The lines were long at all the food trucks.
Yes.
They had the longest line. And I'm not saying that that is not a comparison of saying, well, their line was longer, they must be better. No. But so many people here in Florida love fresh, delicious lobster.
Yeah.
And that could be because you're a native Floridian, you grew up eating it your whole life, like me.
Yeah.
It could be that you're a northern transplant that misses a little taste of New England. And this truck has something for everybody.
Yes. So we stood in line and we got...
And made friends while we were standing in line, too.
We did. It was so great. Just because it was worth the wait. They know how to work the crowd from the window, and they know everybody's waiting, and they make it feel like not such a long wait.
Yeah, they were very efficient at getting your order, but they were also cracking jokes and being funny and just very affable, nice guys.
Yeah, when you come to the window, they make you feel like you're the only one there. They're not trying to get to the next person, the next person, the next person. You know what I mean? It is just, it's a great experience with the people. And the food is worth the wait.
Oh, absolutely.
We got a Maine-style lobster roll and a Connecticut lobster roll, but then we also indulged in some lobster mac and cheese.
We did. So let's talk. Now,
Yes.
these, you go to a food truck, and normally you're thinking, oh, it's going to be somewhere between $8 and $12, typically, depending on what you're going to get. This is a little pricier.
Seafood is a little pricier.
Fresh seafood,
in general.
yes. Now, you can get the cheap stuff, the cheap
Sure.
frozen stuff that they're just going to fry on demand.
Sure, you could.
Nobody wants that.
This is fresh.
This is not that. Yeah, these guys are making Maine-style lobster roll, which is basically a lobster salad. It has a touch of mayonnaise and celery. So it's a nice creamy style, but this is big chunks of claw and knuckle and tail meat, and it's so good.
And when they say a touch, it's not drowning in mayo.
No. And that's important.
And I know we talked about that on the previous episode where we featured their food. It's not. So I think it's just...
The recipe holds up. These guys have it dialed in. It's like they've made one or two of these, and they're not drowning that tender, buttery lobster in mayonnaise. They don't need to.
No.
It's just enough to adhere the celery and so good. And that's a cold lobster salad.
But then
I'm sorry, it is on a split roll.
Yeah.
And the roll's toasted,
Buttery goodness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I know we've talked about it.
And the rolls, both that we're going to talk about, are $18.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're getting so much meat. So much meat. This was really too much food, but we were like, oh, okay. We're not going to get them maybe for another year, so let's indulge. We want to try something new.
It shouldn't be that long between the times, but we were like, let's get it all. How you're like, I haven't seen these people in forever. Let's go.
We did.
So I got the Connecticut lobster roll, which is a warm one with lemon and butter. And I just love that presentation because it picks up on the brininess of the sea, the taste of the sea, but then also picks up on the buttery roll.
Oh, yeah. What I liked about yours is it really is just showcasing the lobster meat.
Oh, and it's like sweetness, the meatiness, the fresh flavor.
And the tenderness. This is a dish that could be a trap, especially if you're doing quick service, food truck preparation, preparing it in mass. This is much. We've had shrimp before at food trucks. This shellfish is a hard one to get right.
Because you could just be just a little too long and it's a rubbery mess.
It's absolutely. You're eating a pencil eraser.
But this is not the case in any dish we had from them.
Not at all.
And especially tough to do with the lobster mac and cheese.
Oh, let's talk about this. Number one, I was not expecting this dish to A, be as good as it was, B, be as big as it was.
I thought it was going to be just a tiny little, like the paper kind of containers that just have like hot dogs in them, the small ones. I thought it would just be that.
So did I.
Kind of.
It was not.
It was huge.
It was a huge paper boat. Absolutely filled.
And you can see it in the episode artwork.
Oh, okay. Good. Check out the episode artwork.
And we added bacon, people.
Because why not?
Everything's better with bacon.
But this was a huge paper boat filled with the mac and cheese and then topped with fresh lobster. And I don't mean a couple of pieces of fresh lobster.
No.
This
like
was
an entire lobster?
like the meat from an entire lobster.
Yeah.
And then we got, crumbled fresh bacon as well.
And I love that. I loved the type of pasta they chose, the cavatappi.
Okay, so tell people, give us all kind of a flavor for what we got here.
So the cavatappi is like the curly pasta that has it's like, I don't know, it's like a straw.
It's like a curly it's a curly macaroni.
It's a curly macaroni, but it's like it's hollow in the center so that it can soak up whatever flavors you can.
And it usually has ridges on the outside.
Yes, the ridges pick up on and hold on to ingredients like sharp cheddar, provolone, mozzarella, Asiago cheese.
Okay, so you got sharp cheddar, which gives you a great yellow color and tang. You've got provolone, which gives you a creaminess, a meltiness, and a smokiness. Mozzarella gives you a little bit of that meltiness and stretch. And Asiago gives you this sharp tang, like a different kind of sharpness that goes really nicely with the cheddar.
So you have layers and different flavors of cheesy goodness all throughout. And it's not the pasta is cooked perfectly.
It was.
And
again, another thing that could be an absolute mess, because if you're cooking pasta on a food truck, it would be very easy to either way overcook it and you end up with mush, or way undercook it and you end up with it being too al dente, and they didn't.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. The cheeses all came together, and the lobster was so tender. So tender.
And then you got that little bit of salty smokiness from the crumbled bacon on top of that. Whoever decided to pair bacon and shellfish deserves a medal.
In that dish? 100%.
It's good. I love bacon with scallops. And I love it
like a bacon wrapped scallop.
Like a bacon wrapped scallop.
Yeah.
And I love it with lobster. And such a good combination there. This was $18 as well.
Yeah, so we really indulged. We celebrated our getting them a year later.
Yes.
So in all fairness, I appreciate our listeners hanging in there while I just moon over how fabulous this food truck is.
Now, Amy is a seafood fanatic. She loves herself some
whitefish, though.
No,
shellfish.
You love shellfish. And lobster, if it's done right. I have seen her really get torqued when she's in the mood for a lobster, and we end up like hitting like a corporate chain, and their lobster is basically a big shrimp, and it's tough. And she's like, "This is terrible."
And you can tell because I can't hide it. My face says everything.
It does.
Yeah. But this
is the exact opposite of that, and that's
I'm
what I
so
love.
glad that.
And the fact that they include claw meat and knuckle meat from the legs,
and it came with a lemon wedge. All of them came with a lemon wedge, so you could just punch up that brininess of the lobster, and everything just popped.
Oh, absolutely,
So good,
absolutely,
so good.
So that is
Get it.
Mobstah, Mobstah Lobster.
And get it if you're in Southwest Florida.
And we will have a link to them in the show notes. Check out their social media feed. They've got great photos of their food. It's going to make you hungry.
Yeah.
If our description hasn't already made you hungry, that will.
And they have their schedule, and a lot of they have their schedule up on their website. And a lot of the time, you'll find them at the Thursday food truck rally at Fort Myers Brewing, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from our airport.
Yes. And in fact, a lot of people we met were hanging out at Fort Myers Brewing between flights. They would
Like a
actually,
layover.
yeah, they have a little bit of a layover, 4 or 5 hours. They would decide, hey, I'm gonna take a ride share and go on out there and hang out. And honestly, what a great way to kill some time. And I was just shocked as the more we've gone out there over the year, the more people we've talked to about that. I think that's a really cool way to spend some time if you got a layover or if you want to get a bite before going on your plane.
Yeah.
And if they're having the food trucks. And they do food trucks there almost every day.
Yeah.
So check them out. Fort Myers Brewing, Mobstah Lobstah.
Yeah. Check out their calendar, and whenever Mobstah Lobstah there, just if you're in town.
Again, if you need an excuse to come to Southwest Florida, we just gave you 2.
We'll meet you there.
2. And we're about to give you a 3rd while we're talking about anniversaries.
Yes.
Our local brewery, or one of our local breweries here in Cape Coral, just celebrated their 4th anniversary, and that's Scotty's Beer Works.
Yeah. And they are also in an industrial area.
Industrial parks and breweries go hand in hand. I think it's the need for the space, and it just ends up, it works.
You need the space. And if you're not doing food, your own food at the brewery, you need the space for the amazing food trucks you can partner with.
Exactly.
So they're just in Cape Coral. They're not too far. Cape Coral, North Fort Myers.
They're technically inside of the city limits of Cape Coral. Yeah. They're right on the edge of North Fort Myers. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have such a wide variety of styles of beer.
They do. And they've won several awards for their beers at some pretty big
Great American Beer Festival.
I believe so. Yeah. Like some big events. And we have talked about them before. We are huge fans of one of their beers in particular.
That is widely distributed at several local restaurants and places, bars.
Yes. And that's their Irish Red.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because we love malty beers. A lot of fellow runners, they really like the juicy IPAs. They'll like the hoppy IPA, the piney IPA. Well, IPAs are hoppy in general, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying. You all know what I'm talking about, right? So, words. So it's just, but that Irish Red this past week was National Caramel Day. And there are caramel notes. It's not like a dessert beer, but it's got that caramely, roasty, toasty flavor. Yeah,
we, in fact, for St. Patrick's Day, we featured I don't want to say the original because that's not really true, but the one that most Americans got introduced to is Killian's Irish Red. Mm-hmm. This is the same style of beer, but I much prefer this to Killian's, even though it was a nod to Killian's. I enjoyed that as well. Yes, they have their own little canning line, and they do sell canned beers in 4-packs there in the tap room.
And they're not 12, they're like 16.
16-ounce cans.
Yes.
Yeah. And their Irish Red, it has that great deep red color. It is mostly it's clear, but it's dark. Mm-hmm. It gives you this fantastic, like you said, the caramel notes really come through without being a dessert beer. And that's, I think that's key. But there is a hint of a little bit of a bitter finish. And that's the mark of I think a good Irish Red.
It's not overpowering. It doesn't destroy your palate for any future sips of that beer, or if you're going to go and get another style after.
And they do flights there. And on Mondays, they do $5 flights, which is a nice little find. But yeah, 5.6% ABV, malt forward with roasted barley. And caramel taste with a dry finish is what you got in your notes here. And I think that is spot on.
Yeah. But they had a special release, and I so wish they didn't have any cans by the time we got there, because it was a small batch release. They sold out of that, but they had it on tap still. And it combines two of our favorite things, as you said at the top of the show.
It combines beer, and
coffee.
And when you think of a coffee beer, usually what does your mind go to?
A dark beer.
Goes to a porter. It goes to a stout.
Yep.
Not this time.
No.
They zigged when you thought they were going to zag.
Yeah, and you can see that in the episode artwork as well.
Oh, excellent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one that they call their breakfast blonde.
It's a blonde coffee. And I think the last time we had a blonde coffee beer was
Florida Keys Brewing.
Florida Keys Brewing.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
This blonde ale, if you're looking at it, you are not going to expect the flavor you get. And this is a blonde ale that I guess they age on coffee, cinnamon, and vanilla.
Okay. And it's 4.8% ABV.
And how would you describe it?
I would say it's a lighter body. It could be very refreshing after a run.
Oh, yeah.
In the morning, if you're not working.
If you're not working.
If you're not going to go to work, then you can have your beer and coffee too, because it's a refreshing, lighter body, sessionable by ABV standard.
Yes.
The coffee comes through. I don't think it's super cinnamony.
No.
I don't think it's super vanilla. I think those would be like the salt and pepper that bring out the coffee notes.
Good way to describe that.
That's what I think. Because it's like that. When you close your eyes and you sip it, it is like coffee bean, essence of coffee bean. That's what I think.
100%. Yeah. The smell immediately when you raise the glass to your mouth, you smell coffee beans, like whole roasted coffee beans.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about the aroma.
Oh,
yeah.
That was what sold me. And then you don't get really any hoppy bitterness on this beer. And really, it is exactly like you said. It's predominantly the coffee flavor. The cinnamon and the vanilla, there might be like a hint in the aroma after you swallow, but it's not like you're having, I don't know, like a shot of cinnamon whiskey.
No,
it's not. It's really mild, but very complimentary. And yeah, 4.8% light body, very effervescent. It had a lot of bubbles.
Oh yeah, the carbonation I didn't even talk about.
Yeah, high carbonation. Yeah. So I thought it was just a really pleasant beer. I was disappointed that we didn't get any cans.
I know, but they went super fast. They sold out all of them on the day of their anniversary.
They said within 2 hours they sold every can they made.
Really, what I'm saying, Scotty's Beer Works, if you're listening. At this point in time, I'll email you the little timestamp and a link to the show. You need to have this in your regular rotation.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a specialty that is brilliant, and you need to make more of it.
Yeah,
I implore you. This is why we are talking about it on the show right now. Okay?
Be the change you want to see in the world, Amy. Yeah.
Bring it. Bring it.
Make it happen.
Because it was such a small batch, we couldn't take a growler and they were out of cans.
We brought a growler
and I get it.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I get it. Totally get it. They need to do, this is our plea, my plea, as a coffee lover and a connoisseur of beer. Lovely, local, craft beer. Bring it. Brew it. Love it. So we can take it home.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can't beat that.
And so that we can share with the Runcation Nation when they come to visit.
I'd love to have this in a growler so we could have it on one of our beer chats.
Yeah.
So, Scotty's, please listen.
Do it.
Do it.
This is why. Anyway, some great stuff on today's show.
That was. So, that is going to do it for this week's episode. We would like for you guys to stay tuned for more fun with us.
And big interviews to come, as we have alluded to, in live chats.
Amy's editing furiously.
Yeah.
Before we go, though, we want to welcome a brand new patron to our show, founder Sarah Bearden. Thank you so much for choosing to support the show.
Yeah. Last week we welcomed Dawn.
Yes.
Broussard, and Sarah just
out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
I get the email and I tell Amy, and she's like, "What?" And she jumps over to Patreon starts checking it out and getting all teary and just like, oh my gosh, I didn't send her a message real quick. It happens to
me every time.
And I was like, this is it's so sweet. You guys have no idea how wonderful it is when we get the notification that somebody else has decided to become a patron.
Yes.
And if you'd like to see and hear more of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast in your day and you want to support the show long term, head over to patreon.com/Run, Eat, Drink podcast and find out more to become a patron. We have 3 different levels of support, and we are continuing to refine and add to those benefits in 2021.
And as always, we thank everybody for supporting our show. Thank you so much for listening this week.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you wherever you are joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you happen to be. I am your host, Amy.
And I am your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe, stay well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.